Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Cone back here again today with another video, and today I want to go ahead and make 10 bold predictions for the 2023-2024 NBA season. And yes, these are bold predictions. This isn't clickbait. I try to go really out of the box and also try to cover a variety of topics. We're going to be talking about some award races where teams are going to finish in the standings, and also maybe some blockbuster deals that we could see going down over the course of this season. Now, because these are bold predictions, there's a good chance that maybe just a few of them come right. In fact, the best chance is that none of them actually happen, but that's the nature of bold predictions, and at least it'll be fun to look back on in a year or so when most of these are probably wrong. But for right now, leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos, and also comment down below one of your own bold predictions, and let me know how you do on mine as you watch the video. First prediction that I've got for y'all is that someone this season surpasses Kobe Bryant's second all-time single-game scoring record with 81 points. So someone basically is going to score 82 or more this upcoming season. That might have seemed really bold about a year ago. Now it's only kind of bold because we just saw one of the best scoring seasons across the entire league that we've ever seen. Offense is at an all-time high. Players are more talented than ever. The three-point shot is thriving. It's an offensive league at this point, and because of that, I think we're in for more and more incredible scoring performances. Last year, we saw two guys drop 70. We had Donovan Mitchell and Damian Lillard do it in the same season. And something funny about that is, if you've been on the channel for a while, you might remember that right before Donovan Mitchell scored 70, I'm pretty sure it was the same day, I put up another bold predictions video, and in that video, I predicted that someone would score 70 over the course of the season. My next bold prediction is that someone in the NBA scores 70 points over the course of 2023. This might seem kind of crazy, as the last time we saw 70 points came from Devin Booker, and before that, it's very rare that we ever see a player score 70 plus points in a game. I'm pretty sure that was right after Luka's 60-point triple-double. The offenses were thriving. I really thought it was going to happen, and not only did it happen soon after that, it happened twice. So again, I'm trying to speak it into existence here by saying that somebody is going to score 81 plus points. Some guys I could see pulling off this feat include Donovan Mitchell and Damian Lillard, who again, both just dropped 70. Devin Booker's dropped 70 before. Maybe one night the rest of the guys on that Suns team take a back seat and he just goes off. If Steph Curry gets really hot from three, he could put together a performance like that. Luka Doncic, of course, could do so as well. Some of the other great scorers like Joel Embiid, Jason Tatum. There are so many players out there I think could have a 60, 70 point game, and eventually I think somebody this season is just going to completely snap and drop 80 plus. My second prediction is that not one but two players this season will average a triple-double, and up to this point in NBA history, only two guys have ever done it. Oscar Robertson did it back in the 60s, and Russ has done it 4 times over the course of his career, most recently in 2021. And the two players in particular that I'm looking at to do this are Nikola Jokic and Luka Doncic. Both of these guys have been pretty close to pulling this off before. Jokic was just 0.2 assists per game away this past season from averaging a triple-double on the year, so he's very clearly a candidate to do so this upcoming season, especially because I think Jokic, like he did towards the end of last year, is going to take somewhat of a backseat scoring-wise to focus more on playmaking, just letting his teammates thrive before he inevitably turns it up and just destroys everybody in the playoffs. I think Luka Doncic, again, he's gotten pretty close a couple of times. If he starts playmaking a bit more with Kyrie Irving now, there is an offensive weapon to take some of that scoring load off of him and grabs a few more boards than he typically does. He's had multiple seasons where he averages 9 plus rebounds. I think he could do so, and I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say that not only do both of them do it during their careers, but they both do it this season, making history. For my third prediction, I'm going to say that Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are both about to play their final seasons as LA Clippers. They've been trying this thing with those two as their star duo since 2019, and it really does feel like if they had just stayed healthy once, they probably would have made a finals, maybe even won one, but unfortunately, that just has not been the case, and now at this point, it's starting to feel like this era is coming to an end. Both these guys are continuously injury prone. It feels like we're never going to get a fully healthy run between the two of them. The core is aging around them. It's still fine, but it feels like they're running out of time at this point, and if they disappoint again, maybe the two of them see the writing on the wall and not only decline their player options, like I think they'll do, regardless of if they come back or not, but they'll decline them and head somewhere else chasing a bag in another destination, or there's a better foundation for them to try and win a ring. I do think they could stay if they make a deep playoff run, or, maybe they end up winning the finals, they finally stay healthy and they get things done, but if there's disappointment, if there's injuries, maybe the two of them see the writing on the wall and head somewhere else, which would be be disastrous for this franchise. For my fourth prediction, I'm going to say that Chet Holmgren finishes top 10 in Defensive Player of the Year voting as a rookie. I'm incredibly high on Chet, and it's not just because I'm a Thunder fan, but I was really high on him from the moment that I saw his first games at Gonzaga, and now that I've watched him throughout Summer League and have seen him in some of these open runs, what he can do, I really think Chet's going to be special defensively from day one, defending on the perimeter, using his length to contest guys and keep up with faster players. Of course, at the rim, I think he could average 2 blocks per game from his first season. Plus, I think the Thunder between him, Lou Dort, Jalen Williams, the progression of Shea on the defensive end, Cason Wallace, I really think OKC is going to be one of the best defensive teams in the league, and with him as the anchor of that, I think Chet is going to get a lot of all-defensive buzz, which is going to lead to a top 10 DPOY finish despite being a rookie, and is just a preface for when he eventually wins a DPOY or multiple down the line. For my fifth bold prediction, staying on the defensive train, I'm going to say that Ben Simmons has a big-time bounce-back season, and is again an all-defensive caliber player in Brooklyn. I don't know about the offensive end, we're going to have to wait and see on that, but at least defensively, I'm buying into the Ben Simmons bounce back. I refuse to believe that a player who was once as good as he was is just terrible at basketball now. I think the health had a lot to do with it, the back injury, the recovery from that, and just being in a weird new situation over there in Brooklyn. I think on this new team where there's really not that many expectations, Ben Simmons could thrive and have a really good year. I don't know if he's going to be an all-star caliber player again anytime soon or really over the course of his career, but at least for this season, I'm going to say he buys into the defensive end, looks healthy, and as part of a defensive unit with him, Nick Claxton, Mikal Bridges, helps them become one of the best defensive squads in the entire league, gets some all-defensive hype. Now, I don't know if he'll make the team actually, but he's certainly going to be in those conversations, and it'll get a little bit of hype building again around Ben Simmons. For my sixth bold prediction, I'm going to say that there are 6 plus 50-win teams in the Western Conference. The conference is just loaded with talent, great star players, well-built squads, so many young teams that could take big-time leaps, already established championship contenders. I don't know who's going to make the playoffs and who isn't in the West. There are like 11 teams that I firmly believe should be in the playoffs, yet there's only 8 spots, and all 11 of those teams I think could vie for 50 wins. Those squads are the Nuggets, the Grizzlies, the Kings, the Suns, the Clippers, the Warriors, the Lakers, the Timberwolves, the Pelicans, the Thunder, and the Mavericks. I think all 11 of those squads, if things break right for them, if they get some progression and some health, they could be in the conversation for winning right around 50 games. Now, are some teams more likely to win 50 plus than others? For sure, but I think all those squads have a chance, and because of that, I think we see a ridiculous amount of winning over there in the Western Conference. 6 or more teams win 50 games, and it's one of the best Wests that we have ever seen. For my 7th bold prediction, I'm going to say that Anthony Edwards, staying in the Western Conference, finishes top 5 in MVP voting. I think we're in for a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander type leap from Ant, where he goes from an all-star caliber player to becoming a bona fide all-NBA guy that leads his team to a really fun season. I know a lot of people are somewhat out on the Timberwolves because of the Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns thing, and I do think that's awkward. I'm still not sold on that fit, but I do think the Wolves as a whole look like a pretty good roster, and Ant, of course, is at the helm. He's become the face of the team. He was great this past season and leveled up in the playoffs, and I think he's got another level in his game. If the Timberwolves become one of those 50 plus win teams that I talked about, if they get towards the top of the Western Conference, I think Ant is going to get a lot of buzz for MVP as a new young face on the scene. He's going to be in all-star talks. He's going to be in all-NBA talks. I think he's going to take a big jump in his scoring, in his defense. Ant really just, in my opinion, is in for kind of a leap season. And if the Timberwolves team success matches that, he's going to get some MVP buzz. For my 8th bold prediction, I'm going to say that like this past season, we get a lengthy playoff run from a play-in team. We got 2 of them actually this past year. The Miami Heat, of course, took down the Milwaukee Bucks in the first round after losing their first play-in game and went all the way to the NBA Finals. Meanwhile, in the Western Conference, the Lakers battled back from an abysmal start to the year, made the play-in tournament, beat the Timberwolves, defeated the Memphis Grizzlies in the first round, and made it to the Western Conference Finals to face the Denver Nuggets. It was the first time that we ever saw a play-in team win a first-round matchup, and they both went to the conference finals and beyond. To me, I think this might be something that we start to see more regularly. The play-in gives a prime opportunity for teams that struggled throughout the year, whether it's with injuries or just didn't find their groove till late but are still very talented, to make the playoffs and have the opportunity to upset teams when they get there. I think there's a real chance that we see teams that, again, deal with some injuries or are just resting guys, not taking the regular season too seriously. They end up in the play-in tournament, they win, and have to face off against one of those top seeds, but take them down. This is also partially because I think parity in the league is really at an all-time high right now, which makes me just think that upsets are more and more possible. So yeah, I'm going to say we get another time where a play-in team wins a first-round matchup, maybe even wins that second-round matchup, and is appearing in the conference finals. For my 9th prediction, I'm going to say that neither James Harden nor Damian Lillard have played their last game for their current franchises. So pretty much, I think we see James Harden and Dame in their current jerseys heading into this upcoming season. James Harden in particular, we've gotten some news recently that Daryl Morey isn't really exploring trades at the moment for him and is planning on bringing him back for training camp. Now, all the reports also indicate that Harden doesn't want to do that and is probably going to try to find some way to make things incredibly uncomfortable for the franchise to literally force them to make a trade. It's going to be a very interesting standoff when we do get to training camp, but I believe ultimately Daryl Morey's not going to back down, and Harden doesn't want to completely ruin his reputation, so he'll go out there, he'll play for the Sixers at least for a little bit, and eventually a trade will get done, but it's not going to be by the time the season rolls around. Kind of similar thing for Damian Lillard. I think the Blazers aren't going to bite on the Heat deal until they really go all in with the assets, or they find some third team to get involved, dealing Tyler Hero to them, something of that sort. And I just don't think that's out there at the moment. So I think there's a real chance that Dame has to show up for Blazers training camp and ends up playing at least a few games for the team heading into the season before the Heat finally say, okay, we'll go ahead, we'll pull the trigger, we'll include more assets, or eventually find a team that's willing to deal with them in a three-way scenario with the Blazers. And finally, for my 10th bold prediction, I'm going to say that the Golden State Warriors make a blockbuster deadline move, adding an all-star or nearly all-star caliber player to this current core. That sounds terrifying, I'm sure, if you're not a Warriors fan, because they've already got Steph, they've got Klay, Draymond, Kevon Looney, they just added Chris Paul to the fold, and he in particular, I think, is the key to this whole thing. CP3 is a wild card. I think he could work really well, but he's also injury prone and he clearly doesn't really want to play off the bench, so maybe that causes some drama. But let's say we reached near the deadline and the Warriors just aren't really performing. They thought Jordan Poole was kind of the issue. They brought in a new ball handler, made some other adjustments, but it wasn't enough to get rid of some of the woes they had last season. Now they're going to have Chris Paul's contract, which is plenty big enough to match an all-star caliber player. They've got some young talent between Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga. They've now got Brandon Podziemski over there, who they just drafted in the first round, and if he has a good start to the season, could be an intriguing trade chip. I don't know. I just think there's so many all-star or near all-star caliber players out there in the market. The Warriors have a good package. If they're disappointing again like they may be, this could be the prime chance for this team to go ahead and add another star to capitalize on their core that they have now. Because Steph's getting older, even though he still is one of the best in the world. Klay Thompson's getting older, and he's actually a free agent heading into next summer. Draymond is getting older, but they did just lock him up long-term. Overall, this core just doesn't have that much time together left before they all start to really regress. They've got to take advantage. If there's any signs that, hey, we may not be a contender, I expect them to get aggressive, maybe pull the trigger, and add a guy like, for example, Pascal Siakam. Imagine him alongside Steph, Klay, Draymond, whoever else they keep in that trade. That team would be lethal. So yeah, those are my 10 bold predictions for this upcoming season. Like I said earlier, comment down below which ones you like, which ones you don't, which ones actually have a chance of coming true. And also, let me know some of your bold predictions of your own. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy. Helps the channel out a ton. I think I might make another one of these videos where I do a bold prediction one for every single NBA franchise. So if you want to see that, let me know down there too. I want to make the content that y'all want to see. And yeah, I appreciate y'all watching. As always, I will see y'all later. Everyone, say it back.